people are like, I'm shopping for, and then the attributes of a person.
Quite literally, if you think about dating apps.
I think, yeah, it's like people put up their little sales tag.
Are you holding up all right? How long have you been out?
It's been a little over a week, and I finally feel like I'm on tour. Like the first 5 shows, I was like, is this real? Is this really happening? But it is wild to be back. I haven't played my own show since 2022. So it's crazy.
Does the feeling towards the record change when the weeks start to tick by after it came out?
Yeah, it's more comfortable. Just living into it and your body recognizing what the songs are. They get easier to sing over time.
Oh, yeah.
And the band too, we all get to make more eye contact. We're not watching our hands as much. And it just gets better. It's
such a personal record that I'm interested in sort of the tension of revealing oneself through a record, and then also the fact that it's a personal record. Maybe the first question I'll ask about it is do you remember how you felt the night before it came out, or the morning of before it pressed play on the DSPs?
Yeah, I felt sick. I don't know if people realize
sick good or
bad.
Okay.
Putting out music feels so bad. It's so worth it, I think. But across the board, I asked friends how are you feeling? And release days are always a stomach ache or a headache or a depression slump. And I think it's just for everyone else, it's the beginning of something, but for you, it's the end of something. It's it's out of my hands. I release control, and you can't control how people respond to it either. And so especially this one, which is the most of me I've ever put in anything. I'm oh my gosh, I'm revealing so much, stuff that you don't really reveal to even. Some friendships you just hang out and you do activities and you never get to the core. I have some friends that learned about me through this record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. I have friends who I get home and my wife says, so how are they doing with the new baby? And I say, we
didn't talk about that.
Didn't even come up.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me more about that balance between this is so private, personal? And I was thinking about it. I think I might use the word sacred versus... I'm going to put this thing out and let people hear it.
That's a nice word. I have some friends and I that we always try to figure out if things are sacred or secret. What's the difference between those things? And having secrets feels a little bit there's shame involved or fear involved or putting up of boundaries against closeness, whereas sacred feels worth protecting, boundaries that keep it what it is instead of just against other people. So sacred is, I like that as a word for it.
How's that tension between the sacredness versus I got to put this out? Or I'm going to put this out.
Yeah, it's so uncomfortable, but like I said, I think it's worth it. And the more that I show up in person at shows and see people singing it to each other, or to me, I'm okay, these have a life of their own in other people's lives. I like the feeling that they matter to other people in their own life rather than me. Realizing oh, these are all very personal to me, but they're relatable to other people. It gets me out of the center of it.
It takes the burden off of you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Relating to other people realizes that this is not just an album where my friends learn more about me.
Yeah.
It's what's that line? The personal is universal. So if the more personal I get, the more universal it can maybe received.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got a lot of thoughts apparently. Let's listen to a song off the record.
Why am I not wherever you are? There is no distance that wouldn't be too far. Even on opposite sides of the room, I am orbiting you.
That has come out from Lucy Dacus' new record, Forever is a Feeling. I'll put the boat in the water and you row it for me. Tell me a little bit about that song.
That's a sweet one to pick out. It wasn't a single or anything. I almost cut that song, actually. Just the first 2 verses were written, and I used to play that for years. At the end of a set, I'd say, everyone put your phones down. This is a song that isn't out, and let's just listen to it. So I would play that. And then in recording, I was it's not really coming together. But then I wrote the final verse, and harp was the thing that finished it for me. But I wrote that I was with someone who I was like touring, and like boygenius was being courted by like labels, and I was in all these meetings where people were trying to impress us but obviously trying to make money off of us, and just like the less artistic side of this job. And I was like in Buffalo on a Zoom, and I was just like, I can't believe I'm not with this person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know where my life is supposed to be, and I'm just not there, and this is what I'm doing. Like just that disconnect. And all of the verses are kind of about feeling the lack of like physicality. Just like, yeah, basically it's like long distance relationship song.
But not a lot of them. I think what I'm getting at is that I think the reason it's interesting to me, and the reason we picked that one and a couple of others, is I don't know a lot of long distance relationship songs. I don't know a lot of songs about being at someone's wedding and watching the person you love marry someone else and being happy for the both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know a lot of songs about how as you get older, your love changes and warps and becomes either something new or absent.
Mm-hmm.
There are individual. You don't typically hear them on one record.
Yeah.
And I was actually, I'll tell you in a second. Maybe I'll throw that out there. You know, my understanding is you were interested in writing about love in different ways.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you said like at the beginning of this that you can count on songwriters writing about love, and I have written about like friendship and maybe crushes. I have one breakup song, obviously Night Shift, but I haven't really written about love yet. Or like I've written about youth and like growing up and my ideas about things. So this felt really new, and I don't really like how love is spoken of a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I think that love, we're told that it's like a game you have to play in order to win someone's affection. And that just feels like manipulative to me and not nuanced. And when love falls apart, there usually has to be a villain. And people are not willing to just be hurt and accept that that is in and of itself a feeling that can exist, that it doesn't have to be somebody's fault. And so, you know, there's songs about falling in love, but songs about falling out of love. And there's songs about keeping love at arm's length because you're afraid of it. And there's, luckily, by the end of it, songs where you're embracing it, but it freaks you out because it's so important.
Can you tell me more about like that as an example of a way we're talked about love. Love is like something to win or conquest or you know, hold captive.
Yeah, it feels very like capitalist.
Yeah,
I feel like it's like people are like, I'm shopping for, and then the attributes of a person.
Quite literally, if you think about dating apps.
I think, yeah, it's like people put up their little sales tag, and then you go out, and then you are a real person. So real love can come from these paths that don't start like that. But it just really confuses me. And I have a lot of friends who are amazing and make tons of friends. And then when it comes to romance, it's like it's a non-starter because they become like they have this lens of judgment when they meet potential partners where it's like, well, you're not this or this or this. And I'm like, love is something different. Love is like something that like just kind of takes you up in it. You like have to be open to it. I have been asking people what they think love is. If you know, you should tell me what you think love is. But my therapist said something really nice, which is that love is the foundation of all things that is easily forgotten.
The foundation of all things that is easily forgotten.
So basically, it's there.
Yeah.
And some people are like, where is love? It's like, it's definitely there. It's that things get in the way of your tapped in-ness.
I want to come back at you with quotes now, but Lucy, why are you asking people how to define love? Like, how did that come to you?
Is it easy? Do you know? Like, everyone talks about love as if it's this like foregone conclusion, like it's a word that has a definition that we all know, but it's not. Like, there is not a universal truth of what love is, or the people's understanding are so different. So I'm like, why are we all like seeking what we think is the same thing, but actually it's so various?
But why? Like, I think what I want to know is why is that on your mind? Why is that on your mind? Why was that on your mind enough to say, I'm going to do something intentional about it and ask some people about it?
I think my life just kind of really showed me what love is. And it can kind of make an embarrassment of previous understandings, you know, like, and that's been a cool thing about just getting older in general is you're like, oh, I was going through the motions of this thing. I saw what it was supposed to look like, and so I thought that was it. But like really falling in love, all the cliches make sense. You know, like I have some writing that I did for this album that looking back at it, I'm like, this is so bad. But I felt it as profound. You know, I'm like, I'm inventing like all of these words, and I read it back and I'm like, this looks like I could have found it on a stitched pillow somewhere, you know.
Love is a warm.
But that's also what's so like amazing and humbling is that you feel it, whatever it is. The fact that you think that you're the first one to ever think it is kind of magical.
Yeah, cliches are sometimes cliches because they're true.
Yeah, cliches are cliches for a reason is a cliche.
Garfield said that.
Really?
Jim Dave? No, I made that up.
Okay.
Let's do the not so nice part of love. Can we do the next clip?
I'm just shoveling popcorn into my mouth so I don't say the things that I'm thinking out loud. I'm thinking about breaking your heart someday soon.
Lucy Dacus with Limerence off her new record, Forever is a Feeling. If you want to know why I'm playing that, it's my favorite track on the record.
Thanks.
Great
I
one.
think it might be one of mine too.
Beautiful song.
Thank you.
Beautiful song. And Rufus Wainwrighty too, which I really love. And,
oh, wow.
You know what I mean,
you.
though? Like,
yeah.
melodically. And...
I mean, he's a huge influence to me, probably.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, I try not to listen to music when I'm making music. So I try not to really have influences. But he has always, like, really resonated with me.
You ever seen him? It's pretty magical.
I saw him, I think Ingrid Michaelson opened for him when I was, like, in middle school or high school at Wolf Trap in Virginia.
You write in that song, I'm thinking about breaking your heart someday soon, and if I do, I'll be breaking mine too. I want to go back to the thing you said about the idea that, like, in the same way that there's a lot of nuance in the way we write about falling in love, there's a lot of nuance in the way we could think about falling out of love or breaking up with someone as well. Maybe I'll just throw it back at you here. Talk to me a little bit about that song. Talk to me a little bit about how you were also thinking about the endings of love.
I guess it's sad to me that, like, breakups seem to be this, like, big fight where both people are self-righteous. When, like, ideally, if there was love there, it is really sad, but, like, the love could continue. You know, there's reasons to break up that are just logistical or just instinctual, and it's not that anybody is necessarily wrong. And just realizing that people are incompatible for whatever reason is just like a heartache, but it's not like a big offense. I think the bigger offense is to know that you aren't right for someone or they aren't right for you and stick with it because you said you would. I would never want to keep someone back from their life that they see for themselves. If someone was like, I'm just here because I told you I would be, I'd be miserable. I tell people that I'm with, you have to leave me if you want to. You know, like the second that you don't want to be here is this, I don't want any seconds past that. Because, I mean, maybe like you can work on it a little bit, see if things change. But ultimately, like, everyone I love, I root for their best becoming, which is up to them to decide what that is. And
that's pretty centered, man.
That doesn't mean it's not painful, but yeah, I wish more people felt that way. It's miserable. I do cry, you know, like, I don't know. It's not like you're just at peace all the time, but yeah, it keeps you centered. And I think like an aspect of real love, which is like wanting the best for the other person.
I mentioned this to you earlier, but I was thinking about love in the context of the band, the boygenius band. Mm-hmm. And I was watching some clips to get ready for this and watching some performances. And Caitlin and I, the producer of the piece, we were talking about just how much you mentioned love between friends, but just how much love between bandmates there was, and that's where I'll steer the ship. Like there's so much love between tackling one another, joking around with one another, smiling with one another.
Brawling.
I'm used to that being backstage, like that sort of affection. But then when you go out, you're there to do a thing, you know. I want to just talk to me a little bit about that. Do you ever reflect on what that display of affection at your shows might have brought to the audience or given the audience?
Yeah, I actually like occasionally I'll see something and I'm like, why are our tits out? Why we're making out? This is great. She's straddling me. Like this is really wild. Like I think at our Toronto show last time, like I was concussed, so I was sitting. I don't know if
I didn't know that.
I was concussed, so I had sunglasses and a chair, and they kept the lights off of me. I can't believe it was still a good show because I felt like miserable. But yeah, Phoebe like came and straddled me in a chair and made out with me, and that was just par for the course. That was just the atmosphere. Like imagine a phase of your life where you were just like going to parties and making out with your friends a bunch.
Yeah.
But that was in one room amongst 20 people. But now there's all these videos of the like that was really like quite normal for us. And now I'm like, I can't believe we did that.
But you can see the audience get. I don't know, man. I was sitting there thinking, I bet this is affecting the audience too.
Yeah, it was really nice. Also, because again, I think one of the things I don't like about love is how people section it out, and like certain behavior is allocated to certain relationships, or certain amounts of intensity are supposed to be reserved for whatever. Like we were all in love. Like that song is real. Like, and we were comfortable and trusting with each other, and we were having fun, and so. I like that we were able to show people that, and I have a ton of friendships that have just been they've just boiled over into kissing because it's like I just love you.
Did it help that you guys knew it was gonna that it was gonna end?
The whole time it helped because we knew before the record came out. We said 1 year.
Who said? Can you tell me about that conversation? I'm endlessly fascinated by the fact that at one point 3B sat in a room and said 1 year. Where was it? Can you?
I think it wasn't like that big of a conversation. Like we were like, what's the scope of this? And it's like, let's give it a year. I don't know. It was I think that we all really understood our intentions with it and for each other, because if we started to feel that like this was our main thing that we always had to do, and we'd be like, I don't know, it feels more breakable or something, or like the pace that we took for a whole year was unsustainable. So if we had been like, oh, this has to happen like for the rest of our lives, we wouldn't have done all that stuff. But we're like, we got 1 year, let's make the most of it. And actually doing the Grammys like extended our 1 year due date, so that was worth it though.
Were you tempted to keep it going? Did anyone try to tell you, "Oh, come on now"? Like,
oh yeah, I mean, we were tempted, but it never worked. You know, like people were like, you know, now you could go here or there, you could make this type of money, and you could do this or that. But we all have our own things we want to do, and that included rest.
God love you. And from what I've read getting ready for this, no one saw how big that it would get that big.
No. Also, I feel like everyone assumes that everyone's goal must be to become the biggest, most successful or money-making enterprise, but like people got to get in touch with when they have enough. And also, like, if your goals are just like exponential growth, that also feels like internalized, like deep capitalism. Like we're fine, and you need to protect your connection to making work that isn't like product placement. Like none of us are doing this because we want to make and sell something. We're doing it because like the music is important, and that's just what life is about.
But I just want to go back to what I'm hearing here is that love, while being blissful and amazing, there's a center there between I want somebody more than anything, you know, and oh, this would be nice. There's a center there. let me get this right. There's a center when a breakup happens. It's devastating and it's sad and it can kill you, metaphorically. But there's a center there. There's a center there of this is sad. I can be heartbroken and I can be accepting of that, and life can go on. Boy genius. It can get really big. The goal in life is not to have bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You can. There's a center there.
Yeah.
Where's that coming from in you?
I guess just quality over quantity.
How'd you figure that out? Is maybe what I want to know. It's rare.
I don't know. I guess like I stay really grateful, or I don't know. I think like I have friends that have not like experienced loss yet, and in a big way, like of loss of life or like a big heartbreak or something. And I'm like, wow, you're like in your 20s or 30s and you don't. Wow. But there is a little bit of like I don't want them to feel heartbroken or like devastating grief, but there is something you get from that, which is like the other side of the coin is gratitude. Not to be corny, but and that's part of my problem is talking about love, talking about gratitude. It sounds like I think people associate these things with corniness, but I'm like, no, we have to save these things from being corny. We can't be embarrassed about talking about this because like that is exactly what life is about. And like being really grateful, you just notice what you actually have and what it does for you. And I think all like the losses in my life, they are losses because I loved the thing or the person.
The losses in my life, which I've experienced too young, have been sadly teachers for an appreciation of it. A lesson I wish I didn't have to learn.
Yeah.
In Most Wanted Man, I love I still believe in God sometimes. It always takes me by surprise to catch myself in the middle of praying, but I thank God for you. My question about that is, what does it feel like when your belief in God takes you by surprise?
It is really funny to have written that because that's one of the most surprising and private moments that happens in my life. And that's part of why it feels like sickening to have put this out because I'm like, dang, I really just shelled out a lot of like really like with me moments. But I will kind of like, I don't know if it's at a moment where I feel fear or helplessness, hopefulness. I will just become aware that I'm halfway through a prayer in my head or even out loud. I'll like just start praying as a reaction to something and it feels like a gut reaction. It feels like taught. There's just like this framework that is still alive that I'm probably going to have my entire life. Sometimes it's really freaky and then other times I'm like, well, this means I care, like if I don't look at this like judgmentally, this is really sweet that I still am seeking this almost like childlike, like journaling to the sky type relationship. And I don't say like, stop that. That's stupid. I'll just go through with it and, listen to myself too. Who knows if anyone else is listening. So,
and it's an incredibly exposing thing to let people know that you do, and also kind of let yourself know that you do.
Yeah,
and I can feel you on that.
Yeah,
I can feel you on that. I'll close off this way. One of the things that I'm sort of like most taken by in getting ready for this conversation is how fast everything happened for you, like very quickly.
Yeah,
comparatively to some others. The solo records, the Boy Genius picking up 3 Grammys, the late night circuit, the magazines, the big sold out shows. Less than 10 years since No Burden, since the first record. Everyone changes in their 20s. Everyone's idea of love hopefully changes in their 20s. Not everyone has that transformation offered for interpretation on their records. When you look towards the next decade, what are some things you want to prioritize or leave behind as we move out of our 20s?
I want to get in touch with the places that I am, which will require a whole other type of life. I move so much. I'm touring so much. So I have never gotten really familiar with the ground. And I've never been able to like grow things. And I've never really been able to have like daily routine with like animals or like So that feels like a goal, and I'm not worried about music that I can't really plan. So really, it's more like I have these life goals, and then the music will change naturally based off of whatever's happening. Um, I do really want to. This record, I had so many different collaborators because that's what I was interested in, and I feel that maybe my next interest is pointed towards being monkishly isolated. So
The Trappist.
yeah, so making things alone feels kind of interesting
Cool.
right now.
Hey, lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Yeah, this was a nice talk.
Oh, thanks. You made a great record. You're a killer. Like really beautiful songs.
Thank you.